But let's start with England progressing through to another semi-final in the World Cup. It was a comeback win against Colombia. Lacey Santos scoring first in this game, but Lauren Hemp managing to level it out before the half came to an end. And then it was Alessia Russo who scored the winner in the 63rd minute. England managed to hold on, and on to the final four they would progress. Alexis Nunes was at the game, witnessed it all. What an atmosphere it must have been, Alexis, especially with those Colombia fans out in force.
Yeah, Kay, that atmosphere was unmatched. It's amazing to see because Colombia, you know, is nowhere near Australia, but they have come out in their numbers at this World Cup to support Las Cafeteras. It really just felt like we were playing in Bogota. They were out there, they were proud, they were loud, they were singing on Las Cafeteras from the very first moment. And once that first goal went in from Lacey Santos, the place absolutely erupted to the point that we started thinking ahead to the next match and wondering if it's Colombia that could face Australia and what kind of atmosphere we'd expect here. But again, the Lionesses, they had to dig deep, they had to fight back, and they managed to get the win. Only just, though, because I remember yesterday in the Matchday -1 press conference, Mary Earps said that England's best is yet to come. I was thinking that we would probably see it in this match. Not quite there, but they had to get a gritty win against a very physical Colombia, and they managed to get it. And now that juicy semi-final against Australia is coming up.
Yeah, it certainly is. Mark Ogden, Sarina Wiegman said after the game that if England had had the ball a little bit better, they could have won this sooner. So she still had a few things that she wasn't happy about with what she saw despite the win.
Yeah, I mean, England haven't really cut loose in this tournament, have they? They haven't really blown anybody away apart from China in the group stage. So I think Wiegman's right. I think there is another level that this team can find. And, you know, maybe like all good tournament teams, that they're getting better as the tournament goes on. And it isn't all about blowing teams away with flair and fantastic football. It's about winning. And, you know, England have won again. And I think that shows in their kind of mentality and their mindset that they are used to winning now. They won the Euros last year. And I think, obviously, the Australia game are completely different challenges. A very good team, Australia, at home, in Sydney. I mean, England, Australia, any sport is huge. So I think England's mentality and their extra edge will count for a lot in that game. But I do think that Wiegman's right. Obviously, with the absence of Lauren James as well, they missed something in midfield. They missed a bit of flair. She won't be back for the semi-final either, so they're going to have to find an answer to that. But I do think that when your team wins and they can be better, that is a good sign because it means there's more to come. So I think, you know, there are positives for England, but yeah, they have to start raising the game now against Australia.
I suppose there's always two ways to look at the comeback. One, that you were able to rally back, but the fact that you did go behind as well in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think England's kind of lucky to advance here. I think they played better in the second half. They're deserving in terms of advancing. But if you look at that mistake from Catalina Perez, the Colombian goalie, and the timing of it, right? Just before halftime, she has not one, but two chances to grab a hold of the ball before Lauren Hemp kind of scrambles it across the line. And I think if Colombia gets to halftime at 1-0 up, we're looking at a totally different second half and probably a totally different outcome. Just a gutsy performance from the English, no doubt. Credit to a team in a knockout round. You go behind, you come back. There's certainly something to be said about that. Credit to Sarina Wiegman as well. At the European Championships last year, she hardly made any changes. She has shown that she is flexible. She can be flexible. Today it's Ella Toone that goes instead of Lauren James. I agree with Mark. Lauren James was missed. But we've also seen some flexibility at the back. Don't forget, England started this tournament playing in a 4 at the back. Now they're playing at the 3 at the back. So I think we're seeing something from Sarina Wiegman in this team that I didn't really know she had in her bag. And credit to England for getting a big victory today. I really thought when Colombia grabbed that lead through Lacey Santos, the 3 Lionesses were in trouble.
Jules, were England lucky tonight?
I haven't been too convinced, to be fair. I haven't watched much of the game because I was the end of the France-Australia game with the penalties and then seeing the plays, etc., etc. I only caught the end of it. But from what I heard and read in between, I don't know. There's something about that team that doesn't fully convince me. But they might turn it up now in the semi-final. They will have to play better anyway to go and win this competition. So let's hope for them that they've got that extra gear that they can go to. Because so far, I think they've been a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, and I think it's something that Jules has been consistent with in the reports that we've been seeing of England so far and in those games that you have been able to see in their entirety, Jules. Do you think they were lucky, Alexis?
I wouldn't exactly say lucky, so to speak, because I still think that Colombia absolutely did what we expected them to do. They troubled England, they troubled their flow, they got really physical with them. You know, we spoke to Alex Greenwood afterwards in the mix zone, and she said that she thought that Colombia were actually lucky to not have gotten maybe a couple more cards or maybe players sent off here and there, but it's something that they expected. But England were still always a gear or two ahead of Colombia in this one, and you could see that they had that extra class to finish that goal from Alessia Russo. Finally, you know, we expected, and we were saying that this has been a bit of a quiet tournament for Alessia Russo, but in this one, you know, she did a lot of the nitty-gritty work. They had the defenders on her, giving her trouble, but when she finally got her moments, we keep talking about how people need to take their chances in this World Cup. We saw how it plagued the USA, we saw how it plagued Germany, and we looked at how it was plaguing England as well. But when the moment came, Alessia Russo took that chance, and you look at the first goal as well from Lauren Hemp. It was a smash and grab. It wasn't pretty, you know, but they did it. They dug in deep, and I think that that's tournament football. So England not dominating at the front or being as clinical at the front as we want them to be, but they're still getting the job done. Their mentality as well is something Millie Bright pointed to, and she said that, you know, we have been on a good run in the last year, and that has really helped. That has been key, and that defense has been pretty rock solid as well. So I think overall England not so much lucky. It just wasn't a pretty win, but that's tournament football, right?
Yeah, it certainly is. Who stood out to you, Sebi, for England in this game?
I think we have to talk about Russo because she has developed, she has progressed, she has gone from super sub to a player that is now capable of starting, and I think her turn on the second goal is just elite. It is a playmaker's play, and it's not just elite because of what she does, but when she does it. It was very clearly a pivotal moment in the game, and so for her to step up, I think is just, it's really a sensational story. This is a player, I remember calling her games at the University of North Carolina not that long ago. I think it was 2018, 2019, and so to see her here starting in a World Cup, scoring in a World Cup for one of the favorites is truly sensational. She's a great player.
Could you see she had it back then?
Not like this.
Right.
It definitely surprises me. And another player that I think is worth mentioning is Rachel Daly. This is a player that is very, very good and has been almost like too versatile because it hurts her, right? You can put her in a different spot. The manager can move her around. We don't really know what her role is with England. There's been times when she's been on the bench. Wiegman has clearly said Rachel Daly needs to be in the 11, somewhere on the field, and I think we're seeing her make a huge difference for the Three Lionesses as well.
So let's have a word on Colombia and what they'll take away from this tournament.
Like, I don't want to be patronizing. They could be in the semifinals, right? I feel like they should, in many ways, feel let down. Of course, we're all going to focus on Linda Caicedo, Ballon d'Or candidate, it feels like, for the next decade. But when we think about Colombia, it's important to note this is not their first knockout round appearance at the World Cup. They made it in 2015 to the knockout rounds. And I think what's important about Colombia is that they then go through this abyss. They don't qualify for the 2019 World Cup. The federation totally backs off. And now the federation has started to pour money back into this program. That's the real story here. If you put not a lot of money, Kay, even just a little money into these programs, they will succeed. There was a time when the Colombian women were showing up to major international tournaments using recycled uniforms from the men's team. That's a problem. You're not going to have success in that way. Colombia's finding success now. I think it'll encourage their federation to pour more money in. And beyond that, I think it'll also encourage the other federations in South America. We've seen Brazil do it, but the Argentinas and others who have powerhouses in the men's game but haven't focused on the women. You see Colombia do this and be that close to a semifinal. You got to think if you're in Uruguay, Paraguay, any of these countries, we could get there as well with a little investment.
Yeah, and just to pick up, Mark, on the mention of Linda Caicedo, she's been absolutely standout in this tournament, especially that goal against Germany.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's been some amazing plays in this World Cup, and I think, you know, Caicedo's been one of them. I think it's going to be really hard to find out to pick the winner of the Ballon d'Or for this tournament, because I just think that every game, I mean, I was at the Spain game yesterday, and Sarina Wiegman scored an amazing goal, and the talent we're seeing and the goals we're seeing, they're just off the scale. And I think, you know, the development of the women's game is coming at such a pace now. And I think, like Sebi said, it's about investment. You know, the investment in the Colombia team is one thing, but the England team is one of the most invested in the world. And I think the more investment goes in, the better you're going to see these players. And I think the next World Cup in 27 will be different altogether, 31. I just think that it's on such a kind of an upwards trajectory now, the game, that we're going to see these superstars emerge like Caicedo.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.